Be careful with every step you take while wandering through San Francisco at night. Because in that thick gloom, just a moment of carelessness can make you step on a person curled up on the sidewalk or slip into the very nightmare this city tries so hard to hide in the shadows. San Francisco used to be the jewel of the West Coast of America, a symbol of freedom, innovation, and the brilliant tech dream. But when the sun sets, a completely different city emerges, no longer the vibrancy of Silicon Valley. Instead, tents cover the streets, screams pierce the night, and there are areas where both residents and police hesitate to set foot. Here, homelessness and crime are no longer social issues. They have become part of the urban landscape. A night in Tenderloin or Soma is no longer an exploration journey, but a struggle between survival and surrender. In today's documentary, we will take you deep into the darkness that is gradually engulfing San Francisco, where the once brightly lit streets have now become a hell for the souls left behind. Just a few decades ago, San Francisco was likened to the jewel of the West Coast of the United States, a place where natural beauty and the rebellious spirit of creativity converged. This was once a place where dreamers flocked, believing that the future could be rewritten from the small hills and morning fog. But today, as the cold wind sweeps through Civic Center Plaza, the dream is nowhere to be found. Only drifting souls carried by the despair of those who once believed in the American dream here, and now have nowhere left to call home. According to the latest report at the beginning of 2025, San Francisco currently has over 8,300 homeless people. This number is not just a statistic, but a quiet whisper of a city losing its ability to help its most vulnerable residents. Notably, the number of people living in their vehicles has increased by 37%, a sign that more and more are no longer able to find a door to unlock, yet still cling tightly to the keys they once called their own. More concerning, the state of homelessness in this city is not just a matter of quantity, it is also a model of a clogged pipe. While the influx is increasing, people becoming homeless due to unemployment, illness, or living costs exceeding their means, the outflow is not keeping pace. Although the city has spent billions of dollars on supportive housing programs and social services, a study shows that while 15,000 people have escaped homelessness, the number of new individuals falling into this situation has increased almost equivalently. Therefore, although the city has made progress, the number of homeless people has not improved, creating a deadlock with no way out. The system is still not capable of turning the situation around. The data lacks interagency connectivity. Each department stores information separately, resulting in the city not having a comprehensive picture. This makes the decision-making process opaque and inefficient. The city cannot accurately measure the number of people in need of assistance and has yet to optimize resources to address the root cause. That is the perplexing paradox of San Francisco, where the city has tens of thousands of vacant hotel rooms each night, a budget reaching billions of dollars, yet cannot meet the needs of the people living on the streets. The city has wealthy neighborhoods and beautiful beaches, but cannot find a place for those who need a temporary shelter. Is wealth and modern light enough to cover up the injustice of a city that has no room for everyone? And can we continue to walk through these streets without asking ourselves, how can a country be great yet leave thousands behind? San Francisco is not only witnessing a rapid increase in the number of homeless people, but it has also become a hotspot for crime and vice. When darkness falls over the city, streets like 6th Street and Tenderloin are no longer safe places for residents. Homelessness and unlawful behaviors are openly present, especially at night. In the 6th Street area, just one night saw around 200 people engaging in illegal activities where cars were parked in the middle of the road and figures lay writhing on the sidewalks, shrouded in a haze of despair. Although the overall crime rate has dropped to its lowest level since 2001, the level of street-level lawlessness and homelessness remains unprecedented. Illegal activities are happening openly and without concealment, creating a great sense of insecurity for the people and businesses in the area.
Well, they're just trying to play in businesses for, for being open all night. But I don't think that's the issue. So homelessness has been going on for San Francisco for like more than 10, 15 years.
In that context, the city government has proposed a strong intervention plan, including the arrest of 100 people each night in the key area, coordinating between the police, public health department, and fire teams to carry out mandatory treatment. Although the Prop 36 program is proposed for treatment instead of imprisonment, doubts about the effectiveness of these solutions remain, as the number of new entrants into homelessness continues to rise. However, the crime problem in San Francisco does not stop there. The situation of illegal trade and unlawful activities is spreading to Cap Street in the Mission District, where the operations of this nightlife industry are gradually becoming a part of daily life. Residents describe the nightly scene, with cars parked along the street, open acts that are not hidden, and the presence of groups of lawbreakers making them feel uneasy. Some residents are afraid to appear on camera because they fear being threatened or retaliated against by those involved in this activity. This situation doesn't just keep residents up at night, it disrupts their entire daily lives. Children can't safely get to school because of the danger, and adults arrive late to work after sleepless nights filled with chaos. As one resident shared, "We understand and sympathize with their difficult situation, but we cannot continue living in this state of chaos. Our lives have been completely turned upside down." The unrest in San Francisco not only affects social life, but also has a direct impact on the economy, tourism, and the quality of life of the residents. Harmful substances have become a part of the poor neighborhoods, stifling not only the vitality of the homeless, but also the entire community. The city cannot continue to stand idly by as neighborhoods that were once symbols of freedom are now becoming unlivable areas, not only for the homeless, but also for the very residents who once called San Francisco home. So when the social system can no longer protect the vulnerable, can we still uphold the values of a just society? Is the American dream still a vision for everyone? Or has it become a distant memory beyond reach? Outside, the streets of San Francisco are still filled with the sounds of car horns, shouts, and the hustle and bustle of a city in chaos. But inside the once bustling shopping centers, it is a different story. San Francisco Center, a magnificent shopping center that was once a symbol of prosperity and the relentless development of San Francisco's financial district, has now become desolate and cold, like a silent, gloomy space. For those who witnessed its heyday just 10 years ago, this scene is like a nightmare. More than half of the stores in the mall have closed, and every passing day sees more small shops shutting down. Bloomingdale's, the second largest branch nationwide, is set to close in just 10 days, with discounts of up to 70%. People are taking advantage of the cheap shopping, but the general feeling is not joy, but regret and sadness. They are not just buying discounted items, but also reclaiming a part of the city's past, a time when this place was the center of life, hope, and aspiration. The emotions of the people are a mix of disappointment and nostalgia. Some people admit that, although they bought cheap goods, their mood is not at all cheerful. Getting discounts is nice, but I can't deny that this makes me feel sad and sorry for the people who lost their jobs, a resident shared. Others expressed regret at no longer having the feeling of weekend afternoons strolling, enjoying the shopping space, and admiring the display booths. Now, shopping has become an online experience, lacking interaction, lacking the breath of a once vibrant city. The response from the authorities also shows deep concern. The mayor acknowledged that the city's priority is to clean and ensure street safety to attract businesses back. However, revitalizing areas like the San Francisco Center is not a simple task. The authorities are working with the building owners, but reviving the vitality of this area will be no small challenge. San Francisco Center is not just a shopping mall. It is also a symbol of the decline of once thriving urban areas. It is a testament to what has been and is being lost in this city, a place where the nostalgia for a bygone era is gradually being forgotten, replaced by sadness and disappointment that permeates every step of its residents. Will San Francisco be able to regain its lost vitality, or will this city become just a shadow of its former self? San Francisco, a city once regarded as a symbol of freedom and innovation, is now facing a sad reality. Hostile architecture is being constructed right in the heart of the city. These are not structures meant for aesthetics or community utility, but designs deliberately intended to prevent the existence of the homeless, the poor who are being pushed to the margins of society. Walls, public benches, and even streetlights are no longer just for public use. They are now designed to prevent the poor from finding a place to sleep overnight. When hostile architecture becomes a part of the urban landscape, it not only reflects the lack of housing, but also blatant discrimination. Public benches have been redesigned with sharp edges or small holes, making it impossible for the homeless to lie down and rest, and difficult for disabled individuals to use. Streetlights, which could serve the purpose of illumination, have now been transformed into objects that obstruct the presence of vulnerable individuals. These structures are not just a silent reminder of discrimination, but also part of a policy of criminalizing the poor, where even mere existence is considered a crime. This policy does not stop at removing homeless people from public areas, but also extends to harsher measures. Areas like Tenderloin, where the homeless rate is the highest in San Francisco, are now witnessing an increase in crackdowns. From erecting barriers, banning gatherings, to enhancing security measures. The city has adopted a strategy of criminalizing homelessness, causing these individuals not only to lack a roof over their heads, but also to face unfair treatment from the authorities. The criminalization of the poor has exacerbated already difficult social issues. Supportive housing policies and social services are not effectively linked, while repressive measures are increasingly on the rise. The homeless, especially the elderly, those with health issues and those with minor criminal records, become targets of this policy as they are arrested and brought into the legal system instead of receiving essential help from treatment and social support programs. Meanwhile, the budget allocated for social services is insufficient to meet the actual needs of the community. Meanwhile, the city government is trying to find various solutions to address homelessness, but it seems that the efforts are still not strong enough to create real change. Organizations and groups advocating for the rights of the homeless are calling on the government to implement solutions that include improving the supportive housing system, enhancing the connection between social services, and changing the crackdown policy to shift towards more supportive measures rather than criminalization. But if policies continue to push the homeless into a vicious cycle, can San Francisco find a path to recovery? Can this city overcome the fear and ignorance of the poor to build a truly just society where everyone can live with dignity? San Francisco, once a gathering place for great dreams, is now being submerged by the very numbers. The skyscrapers, the bustling streets, and a thriving economy all have become images of the past, as the cost of living increasingly exceeds the affordability of the city's residents. A small two-bedroom apartment in San Francisco can rent for up to $3,500 per month, 3 times the national average. With an average salary here of only about $60,000 USD per year, the people of San Francisco have to spend nearly 60% of their income just to have a roof over their heads. This not only makes saving difficult, but also drives thousands of families and individuals into poverty and homelessness. The gap between social classes is widening. While a few people can still enjoy life in luxurious villas, The majority of the population, especially workers and middle-class families, cannot keep up with the rising costs each year. The home ownership rate in San Francisco has dropped to its lowest level in 40 years, while more than 50% of the population cannot find housing that matches their income. This situation leads to a clear paradox. The city has a strong economy, yet it cannot provide housing for its residents. More than 70% of the homeless once had stable jobs, but as the cost of living continued to rise, they were pushed out of their homes, unable to find a new place to live. Thousands of people, from manual laborers to those with high levels of education, have been left behind by this system. The stark contrast between a wealthy city and a segment of impoverished residents is becoming a significant wound in this society. Known for its innovative technology sector and as a destination for wealthy investors, San Francisco has failed to preserve the dream for those who built this city. Are we living in a society where the American dream has become a distant concept, reserved for those with the financial means to pursue it, while millions of others struggle with mounting numbers, ultimately finding no place in their own city? San Francisco was once known as a city of dreams, where anyone, from artists to investors, could find opportunities to grow and change their lives. But today, San Francisco is facing a harsh paradox. This city is home to billionaires, yet there isn't enough space for the poor. Big names like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and a host of billionaires in the tech industry have chosen San Francisco or its surrounding areas as their place of residence. This city is a hub for the most innovative industries, top-tier tech companies, and large-scale real estate projects. The Golden Gate Bridge is not only a symbol of the city, but also a symbol of prosperity, of a San Francisco where everything seems attainable, if you can afford it. However, while billionaires and entrepreneurs continue to build luxurious mansions on the hills, workers, the elderly, and middle-class families struggle with a life of insufficiency. The housing prices in San Francisco are unimaginably high. A small apartment, not to mention the cost of living, can rent for up to $3,500 per month, which means that most wage earners will never be able to own a home. While the technology industry here is thriving, creating hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs, workers outside this class are being pushed to the margins. Many homeless people once had stable jobs, but the cost of living exceeded their means, making it impossible for them to sustain their lives in this city. In fact, San Francisco has one of the largest income disparities in the US, with a clear divide between the wealthy and the working poor. If the American dream was once built on the foundation of equal opportunity, then why are those who contributed to building this city being left behind? Can San Francisco maintain its image as a free and creative city when more and more of its residents can no longer afford to live there? San Francisco is sinking into a doom loop, a vicious cycle of poverty and collapse. Created by a combination of high living costs, a lack of housing, and ineffective support solutions, this loop has trapped the city in a state of crisis. Those living in homelessness not only face material hardships, but they are also pushed into a system where every effort to escape poverty seems hopeless. The way this cycle operates is very clear. When the cost of living rises, wage earners, especially manual laborers and those with low incomes, cannot sustain their lives in the city. Many of them start having difficulty paying rent, then lose their jobs, and then cannot afford other basic needs. This shortage has led them to become homeless. When they lose their homes, they not only lack shelter, but are also pushed to the fringes of society, unable to access support services such as healthcare, education, and employment. Therefore, they fall into an increasingly difficult situation. The housing shortage exacerbates this cycle. More than 60% of the homeless in San Francisco cannot find a place to stay, despite the city's efforts to create supportive housing programs. These programs are not strong enough and cannot meet the increasing demand. Every year, the costs for these programs increase, but the effectiveness does not improve significantly. Medical and social costs also increase as homeless individuals face poor health conditions, leading them to seek emergency services instead of regular healthcare services. Every time a person falls into homelessness, they face many barriers to escape this cycle. No permanent address to find a job, no supportive social networks, and sometimes even stigma and discrimination from the community itself. It is these factors that make it almost impossible for them to escape. Meanwhile, a large portion of the city's budget is being spent on repressive measures instead of long-term support programs. This doom loop is not just the story of a city or a group of people. It is a problem of the social system, of policies that are not strong enough and lack the ability to address the root causes. Can we find a way out for those trapped in this vicious cycle? Or will we continue to witness the decline of a city that was once a symbol of the American dream? San Francisco, a city that was once a symbol of innovation and prosperity, is now facing an uncertain future. The crowded streets and modern architectural structures have now become soulless as the dreams of the people are crushed under problems that the city itself cannot solve. Known as the center of the technology industry and a gathering place for billionaires, San Francisco cannot maintain basic social equity as the poor have no place. The community of entrepreneurs and the wealthy continue to maintain their affluent lives in luxurious mansions, while the working class and the homeless struggle with the consequences of a flawed system. As the cost of living rises, support policies are not strong enough, and the economic burdens increasingly weigh on the shoulders of the people. This city seems to be falling into a vicious cycle with no way out. However, the city remains a birthplace of great ideas, a promised land for tech companies and innovative initiatives. But when the people on the poor streets cannot keep up with the pace of society, when the stalls in the shopping malls are closing more and more, and when the residential areas are clearly divided between the rich and the poor, a profound question arises. Can San Francisco maintain its role as a fair society, where everyone has the opportunity to rise? Or will it become a society where billionaires live in fortresses while the poor cannot find a way out? The greatest concern is not the economic decline, but the loss of direction in policies and in the way this city perceives people and community. The city cannot continue to live in a reality where the vulnerable are left behind, while wealth and success are no longer tied to social progress. Looking to the future, can San Francisco find a balance between prosperity and social equity? Can we rebuild a community where every person, regardless of wealth or poverty, can find a place to call home? In reality, the answer is not simple. This city needs more than just promises and temporary solutions. San Francisco needs a new path, a sustainable direction, where everyone has the opportunity to live with dignity. That will be the biggest challenge this city will face in the coming years. And if nothing changes, the future of San Francisco may no longer be the American dream, but just a distant memory of what has been lost. San Francisco, the city of creativity and hope, is now struggling with the very values it once represented. The vibrant streets, the tech dreams, and the once prosperous times now reflect division, poverty, and injustice. Can this city recover and regain the lost balance? Can we build a society where everyone can live with dignity without being left behind by an unjust system? The future of San Francisco does not only depend on the wealthy or large businesses. It also depends on all of us, the residents, those who have lived through the golden era and now have to face a city changing day by day. But the bigger question remains: can we change anything? If you feel that these stories make you think about the future of your community, don't forget to share and leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Do you see similar signs where you live? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss other journeys of truth exploration. This video was created to provide information and explore social issues based on public data and real-life observations. All presented content is not intended to criticize or evaluate individuals, but only to reflect the realities occurring in the community. We are committed to not drawing any negative conclusions about any individuals, organizations, or authorities. All viewpoints are presented objectively and with respect for the diversity of perspectives.